everything.
I can sit backwards.
So good. We're at meeting. I know we got a bunch to get through here. We think so. I think we might have maybe a new face or two, but if not, I'm Scott Gerlinger. I'm the Civic League president. This is our communications director and vice president, Krista Palma. We have Brenda, our secretary. And let me think. Well, we have Sue, but Sue's one of our illustrious former board members. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
All right. We think. Are there any folks who are here for the first time and want to say hi?
Yeah, Mike Williams, and I live with my wife at 120 Maycox Avenue.
All right.
2 dogs, too.
All right.
Yeah, but you've been
for a bit. Oh, maybe it's been a while.
I have been.
Yeah.
You'll see me out walking the dogs. I'm
Yes.
starting that up again.
There you go. All right. Well, thanks everyone for joining us. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, officer, we'll turn it over to you.
All right. Just start with
Yeah, I would lead in with the elephant in the room.
Yeah, might as well. All right. Earlier today, there was an incident. I'm sure most of you are already aware. It did not happen at the high school.
You saw my thunder.
I did. So, there was no injuries. They fled the scene before we arrived. We immediately contacted the school and our SRO at Granby High School, and they were put on a soft lockdown, which they had security at all the entrances to the building. So that is what occurred with that.
How old is your juvenile?
Juveniles under 18. So
It was like a shotgun
yeah.
because I heard it at my house.
Did you hear it too?
Yeah.
So I'll clear that up right at the get-go.
Yeah.
7,400 of Newport.
What about the elementary school?
That I know the sergeant. Well, I was right next to him when he called out, and he had their dispatch contact both schools.
They were on the soft lockdown.
So yeah, it happened as soon as it came out. The sergeant that was monitoring called it right then and there. So
They had to, it was around dismissal for the high school, so they didn't want the kids outside.
And there was a lockdown here too, wasn't there, briefly?
Yes, we were playing pickleball and it was
Yeah.
I was ahead of the match and lost all of it. No, somebody went to leave and they said no at first, and then when you left, you had to take a right because it was down that way. So.
all right. So your stats are 600 North Shore Road, stolen vehicle. Keys had been previously stolen. She got new keys, but apparently they were able to get to the driveway and take her vehicle. 100 West Little Creek Road, you had a stolen auto. They left it running at the 7-Eleven with the keys inside and unsecured. You had a stolen trailer, 7600 block of Granby Street. You had 2 stolen Cadillac converters, 7500 block of Granby Street. 7600 block of Victory Drive. You had a larceny other and aggravated assault. It's between family members. Prosecution was declined. 400 Harrington Court, larceny from auto. Ex-employee came back, took the air compressor off the trailer. 600 Sterling Street, you had a larceny from auto. 600 Grantham, larceny from auto, unsecured. 7700 block Newport Avenue, you had a residential burglary. Entry was gained through the rear window. Approximately 12 pairs of shoes were stolen. The victim found his items for sale and declined prosecution at this time, waiting to get his items back. He just wanted his items back. That's what you've had since the last meeting.
What, the tennis shoes?
It just says sneakers.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming they were
Yeah.
maybe collectibles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a prime time that all these robberies are taking place?
Robberies or larceny from autos?
Any
Typically, the larceny of autos from the ring footage that I've been getting, it's usually around 3:30 in the morning. It's like right at that time before dawn, I guess, when most people are really asleep. Not many people out walking their dogs at 3 a.m. So, but the last one I just watched this morning was about 3:36. And if you ever see them, like if you ever see those videos, it's quick. I mean, they just come up, the check, gone. So, but yeah.
The catalytic converters, where were those at?
7500 block of Granby Street.
That puts
Both
it
of them.
where? Is that in the shopping center?
It'd be the like Harris Teeter,
Right, okay.
that shopping center. So
Yeah, they're doing it right in shopping centers now. My son was up at the, across the street from the Harris Teeter up in Ocean View. And he goes to that little card shop at Atlantis up there. And they came out late at night, and sure enough, you could see the pipe hanging down from his friend's SUV. And sure enough, he got
yeah, they got
lights on and everything.
one of the members from Greater. I mean, it's I really don't. I don't know what else to say. Like they've been hitting the city pretty hard all over. I know one of the people that is with Suburban Acres. She said that you can Google Cadillac converter theft devices. I guess they have some sort of alarms that go under your car.
Really?
Yeah, I mean it might as well come out with something. You know, if you want to like start a business, if anybody's got ideas, it'd be the way to go. Some of the newer cars, I guess, don't have the platinum in it. So if your car is one of those cars, somebody else has suggested writing on your Cadillac converter, no platinum. I mean, it sounds funny, but like, I hate hearing about how people get out and start the car in the morning. Like, I would be furious. So my heart goes out to all the people that have been victimized by it, but I don't have any. I mean, every day we're putting out, like, be on the lookout for this vehicle, or, you know, this person is a person of interest, or we've made an arrest here, but then somebody else is doing it over there. So.
How much time do you allow a person like mine was stolen? You know, my car's gonna be loud until I get it repaired. How much time will I have before you give me a ticket?
I'm not going to give you a ticket for that.
Okay.
I mean, if you got your Cadillac converter stolen, I don't think that's
I know that
willingly
it's a
and
loud
knowingly
noise. I mean, can
alter
you
your.
drive it for 2 years like that? I don't know, you know?
I don't think anybody would.
I think they'll eventually get you on the state inspection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Get you.
Because I know when your muffler goes bad or whatever, they
Yeah,
put you
there's-
over for noise. That's why I was wondering how long
Yeah,
you
but
allow for.
that'd be like an aftermarket, you know, exhaust that's got put on, not because you were victimized of your
Okay.
Cadillac converter. So.
You said there've been some arrests. Did there seem to be like a network of people working together, or was it?
No, not that I've been told. Nothing got put out by our CIU. Nothing like a network. It's just people are taking them, and like one of our lieutenants, he was victimized. So it's just there's people out there, and they're just.
In a car, truck, I mean, there's just.
No, they took one. The one woman, she worked at a funeral home, and she was at work when it happened. They stole it right out of the funeral home parking lot.
They're fast.
Do they sell the catalytic converters locally?
Do they sell the?
Do they sell them locally? Are they trying to?
Oh, they.
Yeah. Who's buying them?
I don't know.
I think they're selling.
They're selling them out of
They're
the state.
harvesting the platinum.
Have they made any apprehensions?
I haven't heard of any like in the past couple of weeks. I know last month or the month before we had 2. I know the one from the funeral home, the car has been located and a person of interest was generated. But I'm not sure if there's an arrest in that case yet.
So where do they sell the platinum?
Usually it'd be a scrap yard.
Don't they know that they're stealing them after a while? But
Yes. So in
same person showing up with.
yes, if we go to the scrapyard place, if they go to the scrapyard places, the scrapyard would take, and they would have to take all their pertinent information, a photo ID, and things of that nature. So we can go and look and see at their records, like, hey, this guy's turned in like 6 Cadillac converters things like
Yeah.
that. There's
Okay.
things in place here. That's why they're not doing it here in Norfolk. So they might take it down to like North Carolina. I know there's a
Okay.
couple scrap yards down that way. I know in the past, they've taken them up to Jersey in a box truck. So who they're selling them to may not be scrap metal people. They may be somebody that's going to take a long haul.
Okay.
So
You mentioned last visit here about the detail that is going to be traveling around, the roving detail.
yes, sir.
Okay, are we on that? Are we one of the hot spots yet?
No, not yet. I mean,
Okay.
no.
Will today's incident make us a hot spot?
I can see what I can do. I can talk
No,
about-
no. That's not a request. I'm fascinated by your, by the fact that we have it and whether or not we're on the, where do we rank?
Well, I don't do the ranking. I leave that up to my
Okay.
lieutenants.
Okay.
They look at it weekly. Every week they look at it. So as far as I know, it's been stayed in the same areas, but those areas numbers have gone down as far as stolen autos, stolen
Right.
auto recoveries.
Mhm.
So we'll see. I don't want it to get that bad here where you have to get
No,
the-
right,
the
right,
detail,
right,
but,
yeah.
Right.
but at least, let's see.
New hires, how we doing?
Oh, we just hired 4 new ones today.
Good.
4 new recruits. One class is coming out soon. Yeah, I mean, it looks good.
I see more cars, patrol cars
Do
all
we
the
know
time.
the numbers now? How far? what's the
I
deficit
can't.
like? You don't know?
I would have to have Corporal Pickering. I think he's Corporal Sergeant now.
Okay.
But yeah, they don't give that to me. And I don't want to guess.
That's all right. Just wondered.
No, it does seem like there's more people in the roll calls and things like that. So
The trailer, you said there's a trailer stolen from 7600?
Yeah.
Was that something like parked overnight by itself or?
it was stolen. I think it was stolen out of the yard. What was it? Air compressor off the trailer.
Was that something
No,
to do with an
I
employee?
said there's a whole trailer stolen off like
Yeah,
7600
there we go.
or something.
7,600 grand.
How we do here?
Is that? I was just, because I knew like outside the Dollar Tree, they've been parking trailers like overnight
really?
every now and then. Yeah.
It was in the back of the location.
Oh,
When the
and on the
incident
back,
occurred.
okay. Gotcha. Okay.
Who wins?
All right. Well, thank you, officer. We appreciate it and appreciate all your work. All right. Let me see. Is Mark? He is here. Mark. All right.
Okay.
I'm gonna give you the floor to come talk to us about the new development.
Absolutely, these are for you. I only made 10, I apologize, but you can distribute them as you see it.
Sure. Yep.
Perfect. My name is Mark Ricketts, I'm with AES Consulting Engineers, and we're the site civil engineers, local site civil engineers for a project that is going on at 129 West Little Creek Road. It's an existing building, existing site, it's been a SunTrust building in the past. There've been several financial institutions there. The building currently is being renovated by ABNB. ABNB is going to be who's moving in there. Basically, the reason that we wanted to come here and talk to you about it, just tell you what's going on, is the fact that a conditional use permit is required for that particular project. Even though the building has been there and the drive-through has been there for an extended period of time, it's considered a non-conforming use. What non-conforming means is that it met the code requirements and the ordinances at one time, then the ordinances changed, and when the ordinance changed, you're considered non-conforming. It says that if you renovate more than 50% of the value of the building, then you have to get a conditional use permit. When the building plans were submitted for the interior renovations, it turned out to be more than that 50%. So that's the requirement for the conditional use permit. The conditional use permit, I checked with the city today, is on the agenda for March 23rd, is when it'll be heard by Planning Commission. And then the follow-up meeting is with City Council on April 11th. It's the second Tuesday in April. Basically, there's really nothing being done on the outside of the building. The copies that I gave you, basically that shows that they've asked us to replace one of the handicap. Submitted is under review by the city of Norfolk. And if they have any other requirements, want us to do anything, then obviously we will. But right now, as far as outside the building, site civil is going to stay just like it is. I'm sure they're going to screw up the landscaping. They may, obviously they'll change the sign. They may do a few things to the exterior of the building, but really not change that much about it. The use, again, is financial institution, which has been in the past. So there's really no change to it. The drive-through will be operated as it was before. They're not adding or subtracting anything from that. So I just want to make sure that we came by, gave you the opportunity to ask any questions that you may have.
Yeah,
tell you
what
what's
is the
going on.
conditional use? What is the conditional?
The conditional use is for the drive-through. The
For the
drive-through
drive-
requires a conditional use.
Okay, so it was permitted in the past.
It was permitted in the
So
past.
now it doesn't meet a code.
Require conditional use permits under the current code. There was a time past when the drive-through was constructed that they didn't require them. So
Oh, they just need you to get the,
they just need you to get a conditional use permit for it.
I thought
Correct,
maybe.
to come
it
into
was
compliance with
out of
today's code. That's all.
code. Okay, so if it's, where is it out of compliance?
It's out of compliance in that a drive-through under today's code
Needs a permit.
requires a use permit.
Okay,
Correct.
but there's nothing wrong with the width or the,
No.
too far from
It's
the
The structure,
corner?
there's nothing wrong with the structure, the function, anything about how it's done or anything like that.
You own parking lot beside the bank and behind the bank?
The parking that is for the bank itself, the financial institution, part of it is on the property, and then part of it is actually on they have an agreement with the pharmacy that's on the corner, so they share some parking in there. That's the parking.
At Walgreens.
Yes, that's correct. That's correct. There are two areas of parking bays that are considered shared. They have an agreement.
There are a bunch of security lights that are all around the building.
Mhm.
I'd like to see a plan or an agreement that all those are going to be included and operational once you're done.
I'm sure they will, but we'll be happy to do that.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I know they want it for their own security. Oh, sure.
Make that a condition of the conditional use permit. That those lights that are seen on the building will be operational.
Absolutely.
Or replaced to be operational.
Absolutely, will help.
And then there's a long white wall on the drive-through side of the building. It's a big flat white wall.
Yes.
Can we do something about that? Put a mural there or something, spruce it up a little bit?
I'll be more than happy to talk to them about doing something with that to make it look nicer. Absolutely.
Please do.
I have a question about the shared parking.
Yes,
You said it's an agreement between the two owners,
that's correct.
but the city has a requirement for any public place has to have a certain amount of parking.
That's correct.
Is the city buy into that agreement?
Yes, that agreement was filed with the city. It's been existing for an extended period of time, and that was part of the application to show where that shared parking is located. And the document that you have in front of you basically is a physical survey of the property, which was required, so we did that. And then you can see the red is where they've asked us to replace the handicap ramp.
Anything wrong with those ramps that water pools at the bottom?
Yes, ma'am. And
The common issue.
those, I wouldn't call those,
Are there outside security cameras around there? Were they installing those?
I'm sure there are, and I'm sure that they will install, again, it's not a city-specific code requirement, but it is a requirement for the financial institution to put in their security cameras, and they will have security cameras outside the building as well.
Okay, any other questions?
I mean, nothing's standing in its way from people moving forward.
No, like I said, they're not, I know most of the time and with conditional use permits, people are concerned about either the use itself, which in this particular case, it's been a financial institution in the past, so it's not really changing. And two, are you doing anything to the outside? What's going to change? And to this point, they haven't asked us to do anything other than replace the handicap ramp. But anyway, if you do have any, I'm sorry, go ahead. Yes, sir.
Yeah, when do you perceive this opening?
I know they've been working on some of the interior renovations, but it probably wouldn't open until probably a couple of weeks after the city council hearing, depending upon what else city council wants them to do. Again, the application is under review by the staff currently, so they may come up with some other issues. They may want us to replace the handicap ramp on both permit to be doing some of the demolition and stuff. They will obviously can't get a certificate of occupancy until until it's approved by the city council.
What's that little overhang over here? That little overhang?
Right there, it's a portion of the building where a ATM was located at one time. It was just a structure as an existing part of the building, so the building was constructed. Which if I recall correctly, looking back at the files, I think that building was built in 1960, sometimes I want to say 65, 66, something like that. Yeah. But anyway, if you do have anything else, obviously you and I have been in contact. So if you have something else, please let us know. We'll be more than happy to take care of it.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it. Thank you, Mark.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Take care. Have a great night.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Be happy you're filling up an empty space.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
All right. Come on in, have a seat. Yeah, stand right. Let me see. Do you want to talk now and get ahead of Adele, or I mean of Noelle, or because I know she wasn't gonna be able to get here. Yeah, I think Noelle's coming, but not till like maybe 5 minutes more. Just general school stuff too. So I don't know if you want to tag team or if you want Martin to go first, and then you guys can talk. I think she'll be here by then. You can talk together then.
Yeah.
Okay. Then go for it. Hope you're ready.
Yeah, sure. Good evening.
Good evening.
Couple updates. To follow up on what Officer Toth was talking about, a little data that he didn't have. We've got 34 police hires lined up for recruiting class 113 already. We have not seen that large of a number since 2014. So that's great news. Things are going definitely in the right direction there. Target at Ward's Corner, they are still negotiating. They continue to indicate that they are closer than they have been in the past. So things are heading in the right direction.
It is.
Which side?
Yes, things are happening
Which
positive.
side?
Behind McDonald's.
The Kroger.
Oh, behind it.
Construction has started. You've probably seen construction started on this week on the Black Rifle. So that's coming along. I think we said this last time. The gas station, Harris Teeter gas station's open. Had good reviews on that. And as we just heard, there'll be a new bank at Ward's Corner, which is, Joan, I knew you'd be happy that we'd be filling that empty looking at. What can I take back to City Hall? What are y'all hearing? What are you seeing? Yes, sir.
Any word on a hardware store looking at this area at all?
No, none that I'm aware of. Neither Lowe's nor Home Depot have been in expansion modes for a few years now.
You know what's going on with Gardens and the Flower Pot?
Oh, yeah.
Gardens and Flower Pot is going to be a plumbing contractor. Plumbing contractor, and Norfolk Plumbing Contractor is moving his office there.
So it's not gonna be a boring thing.
At least it'll be full, right? It won't be empty.
Right.
It won't be empty.
As a planning commission, it looked like they slowed down, did fall a little bit with the marathon. Is that?
Yeah,
I saw it was
down there.
So it won't be a slowdown, basically. So what happened this past week or last week is Planning Commission heard the default application. For whatever reason, only 4 people were at the Planning Commission meeting, and it ended up being a 2-2 vote, which just means it just moves on to council with a negative vote, and they did not approve it at the Planning Commission level. And so it's going to be coming to council. Some of the concerns were some of the Planning Commission members wanted to see more workforce housing included in the project, is my understanding. And I don't think that I've heard that resoundingly from the surrounding neighborhoods. In fact, I've heard quite the opposite.
What is it?
I'm sorry?
Workforce housing.
I couldn't hear you. I'm sorry. What's
workforce housing?
What is it?
Yeah.
Artificially low rents, not market rents.
Oh, okay.
Rents lower based on your income. So yeah, I've specifically heard from most of the civic leagues that they did not want that included in that project. So I won't be going and championing for that down there. And then the major change, or I think the major change that's occurred in the design since they were here, is because of a pump station on the property, the city had required them to reduce the size of the parking garage. And so to maintain the same number of parking spaces, they increased the height of the parking garage by another level. I've told them that I need to see some sort of parking garage design that is not just a concrete parking garage. It needs to be somehow hidden so that when we're not driving north or south on Granby and we see a big, huge concrete
Tower.
And so they've indicated that they're going to work on some designs and get those over, and so we'll see what they say.
So did they say workforce housing? What percentage did they?
They're 0% currently.
No, I know, but what did the planning?
What were they looking for?
I don't know. It was two individual members who just wanted more. I don't know what specific numbers that they were thinking. So, yeah. Yes, sir.
The condos or apartments on the parking garage across the street from Chrysler look pretty nice. As an example.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
Done
Yes.
well.
Yes. Wrap it around and hide it, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Agreed. Agreed.
Did they,
I'm sorry.
did they say any more about increasing the number of parking? Because that's what we've been saying all along, there's not enough parking.
There is not a request for them to increase, and staff has run the numbers, and staff is comfortable with the number of parking spots they're pushing there. Yeah. Yes, Clem?
Any update on the Farm Fresh building?
No updates on the Farm Fresh building. Continues to be owned by a real estate trust out of Canada, and Kroger continues to pay the rent on it to keep it empty.
Do you know when that lease is set to expire?
It's got to be within the year now, so yeah, pretty soon.
So if the city, if they're gonna put that restaurant in there and the doctor office, the city's gonna require them to have dedicated parking there, right?
Correct.
Right, not shared parking with the residents.
No, we won't require it to be dedicated. The city doesn't require it to be dedicated, the developer might. The city's just gonna require there to be enough for all the uses on the property.
Karen Main from Suburban Park told me that they're gonna turn that Jewish school on the corner of Stoll and Granby into apartments. Have you heard that?
I have not heard that yet. Not heard that yet. Interesting.
What's
Yes,
being done?
Would Target be the entire building or just half that?
It would take the entire property, the whole, yeah, it would be all one big unit.
The part that the city used for workforce?
Both sides, yep,
Oh.
everything. The city moved the Workforce Development Center out of there a few years back.
I see. So
we
the whole
vacated.
deal would be Target, okay.
That's the hope.
Do you know, I mean, is there thought to use the existing building or rebuild?
I think they're discussing both ways.
Nothing where cleaning said?
Being done with this building, or these plans?
Plans for this building are on hold pending Bon Secours decision on whether they want to be here or not, and they're given until the end of this month, so we've got a couple more days to make a decision. So then, you know,
24 hours.
yeah, basically. One timing of this meeting is horrible, right? We didn't want to spend money to design a new building if we didn't know whether we need to design space for Bon Secours or not. And so we said, let's give them adequate amount of time to do their homework and decide whether they want to be here or not. And we gave them till the end, staff gave them to the end of February.
So I was thinking when we were driving in tonight, where are we gonna meet? In the interim. Have we started looking for a place? Or?
No. I think based on the time frame they've given us, we've got.
We have some
couple of
at least-
years.
Yeah.
At least
A
a
couple of
year,
years, but
a year
still,
for the design, but try
Yeah,
by
it
this time
goes
next year,
fast.
we need to.
it goes
Yeah,
fast.
you're right.
Collegiate ones offered their arts center for us.
Yeah, we may have to, there's different options, just none as maybe located as conveniently as here, so.
Martin, now that the Black Rifle's going in, has anybody approached the Martone people about that old Taco Bell that's painted white brick to stand alone between Wendy's and Black Rifle?
They are constantly trying to sell that, but they cannot find anyone who wants to buy it because it is so small. So it's
That'll be a help.
Be a good place for a hardware store.
Very small hardware store.
What do you need, a job, Jim, or is it-
I just happened to go into the Wendy's today, and my sense is that store is struggling.
Yeah, that's the sense I get as well.
Mhm.
Generally I get that sense from the quality of the service I get there.
Yes.
Clem.
Bring some nice restaurants in here.
Yeah.
Indeed.
He wants to be able to walk. Martin, what about the Texas streets?
Asked for money in this upcoming year's budget to finish purchasing the properties in that one block.
So
We
is
can do
any,
there.
when we ask for money, are we expecting to have any of the apartments that are directly on Little Creek to be purchased, or has it always been just what was behind?
Right now, we're focusing on that block that's behind those. Historically, we've purchased a couple of the buildings on Little Creek only because they came as a package when we were buying. It was the same
The other
owner
ones,
as some of the
right.
ones in the back. And so that's why we ended up with some of those. Right now, we're really gonna try to focus on that one contiguous block. Try to finish that. But of course, these have to be willing sellers.
Right.
Do you know what's happened with, there's the one property on Little Creek just past there on the right side coming from here that is like blown down, just says orange.
The
fencing.
Robo-wash.
yeah, the old Robo
Robo-wash,
Wash.
yeah.
Yes. I don't know. I've heard they're rebuilding it, but I don't know. I don't know for sure. That was just kind of a rumor.
It's beginning to look trashy.
Well, it's a valuable property, so I think you can count on.
I know,
Something
but
will
it's,
happen.
it's getting to look like an eyesore.
Yeah. Something will eventually happen there. All right, anything else? Let me know. Appreciate everybody.
All right. All right, I looked it up. She said she'd be here probably by 7:15. The agenda, you want us to do that first? Okay, all right. Yes, you did. Oh, there you are. Sorry. For some reason, I thought you were the one who slept. Aaron. All right. So we wanted to, I guess, have a bit of a discussion on, I guess, Aaron and I went to the leadership breakfast. I guess this was last month.
Yeah.
Okay, time flies. So, I got a bunch of different ideas there about things other civic leagues are doing around the city and different stuff. And so the thought was, well, hey, could we grab some of those ideas and, you know, borrow or steal and bring them here? And so I don't know if you want to, if you've got
Yeah,
a
we
list to
had
read off of.
a couple of different committees to sign up for, so everybody can kind of get involved and have a stake more in the Civic League. So I have some sign-up sheets here. We have the events committee, which we started doing or continue doing, like our ice cream social at the North Shore Park, and then our fall event. And we're talking about some other events that we'd like to bring to the Civic League and to the neighborhood. We talked also about doing a scholarship here for high school seniors as well. So we have a committee for that. We'd love to have you sign up. Our welcome and membership committee, adopt a spot, a thank you neighbor award committee was a really cool idea. And then we have some neighbors that are awesome at cleaning up and picking up after some of the rest of us. And then kind of like a sponsorship advertising committee. So I will leave these out here, but I definitely encourage you guys like to get involved more than just coming to the meeting as well. And I also brought with me too, if you haven't seen the newsletter, hopefully you guys are all getting the newsletter. I brought a paper copy with me too, but make sure you're signed up to receive that as well. And then a welcome letter too, if you haven't received that as well. Anything I missed?
I don't think so. Yeah, so we're just looking, for
Any questions about the
new
committee?
ideas, new things, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll just say thank you. The newsletter is one of the best that I've seen. So thank you. Y'all done a great job.
Thanks. We'll give Martin one of those neighbor awards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, definitely, please, before you leave, I'll leave this out here too, so you can sign up. And if you're not getting the newsletter,
No, hard copy and anything.
I only brought one with me.
Oh, okay,
because
that's
it's
okay.
lengthy. If you haven't seen it,
Yeah.
read it.
So maybe I read this wrong, that ways to engage our community, I assume that means the whole community, not just us that come all the time.
Right,
Right.
exactly.
So, but I didn't hear any ways to engage the community.
Well, that's what.
That's what the
that's
committee
what
would
these
be
things are.
developing.
Yeah, but those people, oh, okay.
So I would encourage
Okay.
you, yeah, so it sounds like, you know,
Okay.
that welcome membership community would be the way, you know, that would be the group, right? That would be working on engaging those that aren't here, obviously.
And the events and
Yeah.
some of the other things. Yep. So they had a big long list of.
We started with a couple.
We-
There were about
we-
20 different ideas.
There's
Yeah.
at least 20, yeah. So, and I think we're gonna have Jamie Golden from Neighborhood Development come sit with us next month at this meeting. She's at one of the other civic leagues tonight, but she's gonna sit with us, and she's our neighborhood development rep, I guess, for this. She covered. I forget how they break up the regions. It's not by the wards, but she's for this area of the city. So she's gonna come and we can ask her some more about this too. All right. Any questions? Well, we hope you will engage and sign up.
I have one. I've
go.
just read the bottom of this. It said, I mean, I know I'm getting my emails for the newsletter. Is
Yeah.
it also posted on our website?
It is on the
Okay.
website. Yeah. If you go to the website and go to newsletters, it's got the whole
Because
archive.
people that move into our community and they look it up.
Yep. Yep. You can look it up. All the newsletters are out there.
And this is the welcome letter that's going
Yeah,
out
I-
to
yeah,
all the new folks.
I get it online.
yeah. And the links to the live stream recordings are out there too and everything. So yeah, it's all out there. Okay. Well, then I will jump to our school board reps and.
Go ahead and have Dr. Gabriel go, since I talk to you all the time.
Okay. Well,
All right.
I'll let you two. Yeah. I don't know. Decide how to divide and conquer and share what
All right.
we need here.
Well, good evening, everyone. For those of you who I have not had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Noelle Gabriel. I'm a lifelong resident here of the city of Norfolk. Grew up down the street, proud product of Norfolk Public Schools. I have had the wonderful ability to go to school here, actually in Norfolk my whole life, and I work at CHKD, and that's where I just came from. So I'm here with Dr. Martin. I know that she is a frequent member of the Ward's Corner Civic League. She is our chair of the school board, and we are here to talk about really a couple of pressing issues that we have been in discussion for the past few months, and then also to hear your questions, concerns, thoughts, feedback. We are very accessible. We have emails. You can reach us through, best is probably email, I would say, and then through our clerk of the school board, Ms. Karen Tanner. So I would say that as a tax-paying member of the city of Norfolk with 4 children in Norfolk Public Schools, say that probably academics and security would be. We have been very forthcoming with the information post-COVID about the advancements that we have made as a city, as a school division, with regards to COVID-19. I will tell you that Norfolk Public Schools, when you look at us compared to the rest of the school divisions in the state, we have made some of the greatest gains in the fastest rate compared to several of our other counterparts. And I am including Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, Suffolk, Williamsburg, those school divisions. Now, while they may be still ranked a little bit higher than us as far as their pass rates for some of the academics, our catch-up rate has been really accelerated. And that is because we have a phenomenal superintendent, Dr. Birdsong. She has really put her emphasis with regards to her budget in people. And that means teachers, teachers' assistants, tutors, professional development for the staff, math specialists, reading specialists, special education. She is a former classroom teacher herself, so she knows that the most important thing for our students is to put a highly effective individual in front of them every day. And so her goal is to try to decrease the amount of substitutes that we have, long-term substitutes that we have, and still face the challenges that our kids bring with them from home, from wherever, and try to get them where they need to be academically. That's also to say that the kids who we need to catch up, we're catching them up, but also the kids who need that acceleration, we're giving them that rigor that they need. And that's why we are really trying to also feed into programs like our IB program, which this past year we had some of the highest number of IB diploma graduate recipients that we've ever had in the past. So you can speak volumes. And so with Principal Smeagol over there, we've been able to capture some of the highest diploma rates ever. And I will say it's very diverse too. So it's males, it's females, it's Caucasians, it's African Americans, it's everybody. And that is probably one of the beauties of Norfolk Public Schools, is that our kids can learn together in a very culturally represented environment and still do well and accelerate. Her budget, which has not been adopted as of yet, but we're in the process of working through some of the finer details of the budget, really highlights payments for staff members, because nationally we're experiencing a huge teacher shortage. And so, as she has said, we're not fishing in the sea, we're fishing in a pond. So we're all trying to grab at our highly effective, highly experienced teachers. And so right now, as it stands, and I don't know, Dr. Martin, I don't know if you've received any information on the Virginia Beach or Chesapeake budgets yet. We are now starting our teachers at the highest rate entry level as compared to all other states. I'm sorry, cities in our region. So we still don't know what some of the other cities are coming out with their budget. They might look at ours and be like, all right, we're gonna up you $1,000. But either way, right now, as it stands, we are the highest paying for entry level teachers. We are also trying to correct some of the what they call compression. So teachers who have been in the division for quite some time, we are trying to accelerate getting them back onto what they call the right step. So that way our tenured teachers are really being, their paychecks are reflective of their years of service in Norfolk Public Schools. We had been on a 4-year plan for that. She's been able to compress it to 3 years. And so after this budget cycle, we'll have one more budget cycle, and then all teachers will be on their correct step. And then every year thereafter, they will be receiving the appropriate step increases. You know, as long as our state and city are doing, well, we're not. And to kind of segue into the security factor, she has put in the budget 18 more positions for school security. We work very well and closely with the city as far as our police officers go. Police officer and security officer are two different things. One carries a weapon and one does not. That's a very simple way of kind of explaining it. We want to have security officers in all of our schools. We have about 45 buildings that we operate. We're the largest urban school division in the state of Virginia. So we want to have a security officer in every school. We want to have police officers in our middle schools and our high schools. And some high schools need more than others, meaning the numbers of individuals there. And we see police not just as security, but also as we want the kids, our students, to have positive encounters with police. We want them to understand that they're here to teach them about security, about safety, about consequences, things like that. So we really want to try to emphasize positive encounters versus negative encounters with police. But at the end of the day, every parent should feel comfortable sending their child to Norfolk Public Schools, because that is our biggest responsibility. I know that Dr. Birdsong, before she puts her head on the pillow at night, she's thinking, have I done everything I can do to make sure that every child that's under my care, when they leave their home, get on the bus or walk, that they are safe, that their parents feel that they can trust me. And she is doing everything that she can. And I will tell you, her job has been very difficult. Dr. Martin and I receive emails, updates all the time from her every day about a threat here, a gun, a school lockdown here. It's every day now. Teenagers making threats. I'm gonna kill this person. Instagram post, Facebook post. We take everything seriously. Everything is thoroughly investigated. If a kid says, I'm gonna go home and bring a gun to school, the cops are at their house, searching their house. So we don't want to have happen what we have seen happen nationally and right here in our own backyard. She actually just sent a letter out to all parents that basically they're asking parents to please help do your part.
I have it right here. I'll pass it around.
There you go. Check your kids' book bags. Talk with them about consequences. Talk with them about making threats. If your child feels bullied, this is a phone number to reach. This is who they can talk to. In order for a teacher to teach effectively in the classroom, she has to maintain discipline in the classroom. And certainly we want to be able to give every teacher that ability and every child who wants to learn in the class that ability. But if a student is disrupting class, they need to be dealt with. And we hope that we can deal with them positively. We hope that we can understand what they have in their background. Just to think about those things when those kids are getting to school. What are some of the things we can do in order to make them successful? Because if we don't intervene now as a city, as a society, then those children will grow up, and we don't want them to not be good contributors to society. So more than just public education, it's about making really good, wonderful citizens. So the budget we hope to have passed within the next month or two.
It's we have on the first, so Wednesday, this Wednesday, we're having a public comment period on our budget. So if you have any comments on it, this is our budget for the 23-24 school year.
Yeah.
And so if you'd like to come and speak, you can also email us and we will read your emails. And then we are planning to adopt the budget on the 5th at our business meeting on March 15th.
Yeah. And just so you know, education is the biggest part of the state's budget. It's where the bulk of our tax-paying dollars go to. And the school division, Norfolk, receives about 75% of its funding from the state. And we receive about 15 to 20% from the city, and the rest is in federal dollars. And every year, at least since I've been on the board, which is almost 10 years now, every time the state has not been able to fulfill their obligations, the city has always stepped up to the plate. They have always helped us fund our math and reading specialists. I know with Councilman Thomas, what do you need? What can we do to help? Do you need security officers? What do we need to do? Of course, we're going to ask for lots of different things. But they have always really allowed us to be the knowledgeable entity to report back on what the needs of the students are. And so I guess that leads me to the last topic that I'll bring up before we can open that up to questions is, what are we doing with school construction? So the city has made a very bold move, and it's a great one, to rebuild or renovate Morin High School. So that's number one on our list right now. And then the schools that are following behind it, all ranked because they need to be rebuilt: Norview Elementary, Jay Cox, and Granby Elementary. And I know Granby Elementary to all of you is very near and dear. And I cannot give you a time estimate as to when that might happen. But I know that Granby is, the priorities are Maury, then Norview, then Jay Cox, then Granby. And so I'm hoping 5 to 7, 8 years. But we're going to continue to do the things that we need to do in order to keep the schools warm, safe, and dry. That's what our facilities representative said. So that means roofs, that means HVAC, that means windows, that means the things that make a building function. So that's going to be a heavy lift for all of us. Just figuring out what to do with Maury right now is a huge endeavor. A lot of folks want to preserve it. A lot of folks want to knock it down. Some folks came to us and said, let's make it an apartment complex and we can do two things at one time. And so we're trying to do, number one, what's in the best interest of our kids and what might be a building that will last for the next 100 years. But whatever we do, we know that we have to act swiftly because that building is falling apart. So we understand the need to rush and to work quickly on it, but we have to follow legal processes. So we're going as fast as we can. Anything else, Dr. Martin?
Can I ask a question first?
Yeah, go ahead.
I get a lot of basketball games, kids basketball teams on the weekend, and the security man says he gets $30,000 a year, and he has 3 jobs, and he would like me to ask you to give him a raise.
We are giving a raise. And the bus drivers and the HVAC technicians, and I think everybody at Norfolk Public Schools is getting a raise.
You need more security people.
Yes, we all do. I think that's 100%. 85% of our operating budget is human resources.
Sorry, you guys think I can go? I don't want to keep talking here too long. My name is James Aguilar. I live at 4 o'clock. West 4th Street. Officer Todd is in here right now, but our community, I'm a homeowner there, and it's surrounded by retail. We have a lot of break-ins going on. I just walked over here, and I do a nightly walk. That's one of the reasons why I got the dog. I've witnessed signal jammers in our neighborhood. I've witnessed people that aren't to be there chill out. I'm just going to say this. The HOA doesn't enforce parking permits. We have 2 different neighborhoods right there with no stop sign. It does not protect the homeowner's interest. I used to work in city planning as a compliance operations manager. I'm a land developer. I'm a revenue generating taxpayer in the city. I've told Officer Todd, I've told the HOA, if you don't get security in that neighborhood, you just have break-ins and the police say, report it, document it. We documented every incident. I've documented every incident. It's getting to the point where the police, I have too much other stuff going on. I know it's priority, but the cars and break-ins are enough. When we have signal jammers and Bluetooth hacking devices in our community to open up our driveways and our garages and our cars, that is a safety issue. And I'm not gonna allow it. I'm military. I will press the issue. I've told Officer Todd, I haven't told the chief of police yet. I told the last police that came out and telling you down there, Thomas. It might be young, it might be, but somebody's gonna get hurt.
Whereabouts are you talking
I
about?
live in Westport, right across the street.
Where?
Westport. This is one of the best wards in the city. We have a lot of investment coming in this area. We got a new rec center. There should be no reason why a homeowner should have to struggle with I don't even keep my car. I keep my car in my Virginia Beach house because the police just say, well, there's nothing we can do. Just keep your stuff wild. I don't believe that. I believe people that come in your neighborhood preying on the weak should get punished. And if the law isn't going to do something, the citizens will. And I've documented that just so in case something happens, people should not be coming in that neighborhood unless they live there. Because I told the HOA, they're community citizens. We don't have a stop sign to go across the street. I'm not going to get on that. But we don't have any surveillance. We don't have any entry to say, okay, you are supposed to be here. So people can just come and sit and pray on us. And that's not going to happen, especially summertime coming around. I've been here since 2019. That property is going up. It's a good investment. I'm going to protect my investment. I'm documenting here in city council in this ward quarter meeting. I haven't told it to Officer Todd, but I've told it to one of his guys. And I have technology that spots signal jammers and Bluetooth hacking devices. They're everywhere in our community. And how can we tell? People get their garage doors open, they get their cars open, and we report it. And the police just say, there was blood on the 4 days ago. There was actual blood in the lady's car when they broke into it. They didn't even come and get it. The police didn't come and get it. I know you guys are busy. I'm not trying to get on the police. I know I'm on the staff. There's a lot going on. But it's going to be a problem. I don't live in some neighborhood. It's too much money over there for us to be going through that. And I'm going to do something about it. Because the reason why they keep coming back is because they have no repercussion. That's what life is. No repercussion to keep on doing. somebody needs to do something. So that's all I said. I said my piece. I hope, can you guys just document that in your notes?
We can get you. Do I have your contact info, James? I can't remember.
You should, 454.
New development.
It's the police thing. It's the police chief thing. And when the police come out, they give you this roundabout answer. Well, it's HOA problem. If the HOA can't enforce the permits and the parking, if somebody doesn't have a parking pass, they shouldn't be parking on the road. They shouldn't be, unless there was a visit, they should park in a visit, especially late at night. So there needs to be a hierarchy thing, because the HOA can only do so much. They can't enforce law. I don't even tell our citizens to come out there and enforce law. But I have a badge, and I will enforce the law and my property, and that's what I'm telling you guys. Enough is enough. I just saw him coming in here, and I was like, let me come over here and tell you guys. Way too much money. The problem in that, but Councilman Thomas, please.
You gotta finish what was going on. We'll talk about
I do have one more
Thanks,
thing.
James.
Okay. That, if you haven't heard, it was on the news recently, but we voted on our, academic calendar for school week 324, and we are starting pre-Labor Day on, August 28th. We will still have a 2-week, Christmas vacation, but it's going to start on, so the 22nd, which, so there's a weekend, and then go to January 8th. So we've moved it back to where it used to be, the last 2 weeks in December. It's gonna be the last week of December and the first week of January. We still get a March day off, which is one of the things that I proposed last year, that we switch up to make sure we moved, the New Year's Day observation to March, so we could give our teachers and staff a break at that point. And we are going to start looking at a 2-year calendar instead of doing it from year to year. And next, so 24, 25, we're going to look at options to pass it. Just we've only decided on next year's academic calendar, but we're going to try to get ahead of it. And that's really what a lot of the districts in this region are doing. They're moving to a pre-Labor Day start. And so we want to try to do that as well.
What about finishing? Will they finish?
Yeah, so in 24, our students will be released on June 7th instead of June 18th.
Big
So
difference.
yeah.
It works better too when it aligns with SOLs as a teacher's perspective. You finish the school year and then you have 3 weeks and the kids are like, we're done. And you're like, no, sit down.
Yeah. The release date is June 7th. Okay. In 24, yeah. Gabriel, is there anything else?
No, I was gonna take questions.
Yeah.
The only thing I don't see that's gonna work well is that Christmas break.
Why is that?
Because parents have off for those 2 weeks. They go back that Monday after New Year's. So now you're forcing parents to take off 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Yeah, because a lot of them already have that schedule. It's a constant schedule.
Well,
My
the
wife
school
works for
district that gives
TCC.
2 weeks.
My wife works for
Yeah.
TCC.
Okay.
She's off that Friday before Christmas, and she goes back that Monday after New Year's.
We
I
talked.
work a traveling job,
Mhm.
so you're telling me that that's a problem.
So we talked about that because other districts, they might get off earlier, and so they kind of have that the first week, whereas we have that issue the second week. So essentially what we'd have to do is not have a 2-week break to be able to accommodate work schedules. Because either way, we're not going to be able to please every household. And that, do you understand what
I'm in
saying?
a philosophy, if it's not broke, don't fix it. It's been working for decades.
This was, we had four calendars to choose from. Surveys went out. We did, initially there was a survey on just should we start pre-Labor Day, and that was it. And we got a feedback of yes. It was pretty cool.
The Christmas break was the unpopular.
So then we got we sent out 4 calendars that is community members, teachers, administrators, principals. So it's a large committee. It's a big cross section of our city, and they ranked the calendars. Number 1 didn't pass, but calendar number 4, which was the second option, did pass. And that's the one that had, that's the only one that had the December, January break. So, you know, we're trying to please the majority of people. So that's how we came up with it.
I have a question since you brought it up. I was not gonna bring this up.
Okay.
I watched y'all's live stream. I watched you guys vote on it. Y'all overturned what the will of the people was. You gave the will of the board. I'm not mad at y'all. Y'all did what you did. But please do not say like most of the people voted for go back normal time, get out the regular time. I'm not trying to be meaner or anything, mad or anything, but I'm definitely not happy, and neither is my wife. And what he's talking about, I don't know about everybody else here goes, most jobs let you out, and this is military, and a lot of the money coming here is military. I'm retired military. I know my guys only get 2 times a leave. There's a block 2 weeks prior, block 2 weeks after. We can't go with our kids. We can't take care of our kids because we're either out to sea doing our jobs, or we can't go there. Okay, this is my whole point. I think you guys need to take a revisit to Christmas leave period time. That's my biggest complaint right now. But you got the number one voting was we're going to go back from the way it was, and you guys overturned it. That's y'all's decision. That will be revisited next election. So that's where I stand on. I think both of y'all are doing a fairly good job, but that did really tweak me off. That's all I'm going to say. I appreciate you guys coming here and talking to us about it very much.
Yeah.
And one thing I noticed is that when the kids are out of school, the daytime break-ins increase. Now, it's just gonna happen. It's gonna happen. But by forcing these parents they're going back to work that first week in January, that's gonna be another prime time for those kids because, 12 years and older can stay home, and they don't. They break in. I'm not saying every kid, but you know, it happens. That's when the break-ins are from the kids, and they steal kid things, but you know. Yeah.
So this is why I try to come here every month and say, we have the survey out, we'd like you to take the survey, or you know, have this discussion ahead of time so that we can, so I can hear it.
And I'll just, from my perspective, our Norfolk Public School students need to have those 1 to 2 extra weeks before Labor Day to get that extra time in before the SWLs. But you know, it was the will of the board. So I would say we had to take that leap to start before Labor Day. But I definitely think hearing the feedback, especially the military feedback, which may not have been a perspective that was considered, I think that we can do better with that.
Well, yeah, because no offense, but I mean, military spouse since 1995. I don't know how I get home to family in 2 days before Christmas, right? If you're saying the kids are going through Friday the 22nd, so in Saturday and Sunday I have to get home. If that's the reality. And by the way, Christmas isn't the only holiday impacted.
Right.
So
right.
Was there an option to move it to the Labor Day or the prior to the Labor Day?
Yes.
2 were before Labor Day.
With the Christmas option left alone.
Yes, there was one person.
Okay.
Yes. Yes, there was. Yeah.
But no one wanted to do that.
We tried to do it, but the vote didn't pass.
Not even close.
So, yeah.
Who could you reconsider? Could you go back and discuss this?
I would say we'd probably look at it for next year
Yeah.
moving forward because we already voted on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, go
I'm
ahead.
curious about the survey response rate on going out. Well, yeah, I'll start with that, and then follow up, depending if you guys know any idea what the amount of surveys.
8,000.
8,000.
We have 29,000 students in our division. 4,000 were about 2,500 teachers responded. There were about 3,000 families, and we had about 500 students that participated. And I can't remember the distribution for the rest.
Do you know the demographics of the surveyors?
We do actually.
So,
we do.
Was it heavily military or hardly no military?
You know,
I don't remember military.
I don't think that was an option.
I don't think that was an option. I think it was zip code maybe, parent in Norfolk Public Schools. I took it, trying to go back and think. But I do think we can do better as far as the military goes.
I'm just speaking for
Yeah.
myself, I'm done. I'm done.
Yeah.
I've been retired for 6 years, it's nothing. I'm gonna tell you, I got brothers and sisters still on those ships, steaming and cruising all the time. There is a very limited amount of time, and the military is never gonna change its ways.
Yeah.
They're gonna continue from the 18th,
Yeah.
like somewhere about the 18th,
Yeah.
all the way to like the 18th
Yeah.
or to 20th. There's got a lot there. So.
It's good feedback to hear.
Well,
to
they're
hear.
complaining all over Facebook.
All right.
Yes.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
No,
I do, yeah. Okay.
So the one thing I will say, I know one of the other complaints I heard online was people complaining that they're going back and they're doing a 4-day week and then they're doing another 4-day week. But I think that's because most people aren't aware that that's the state law that got changed. And that's it. We need to go talk to our state legislators about that, because when they let us start before Labor Day, the deal was that you had to take that Friday off. And so that's
Yeah.
the state law.
It is state
binding
law that you
us.
have to take Friday off
And I think
before Labor Day.
there's people who are saying this is crazy. Like, how could the school board do this? It's like, well, you didn't have a choice. That's what it was. Right.
Outside of the calendar, I will present a suggestion. A lot of our security behavior problems seem to be chasing them after they occur and not a lot of preventative measures. There's actually several groups. This is something that's popping up and becoming more popular, is introducing like mindfulness into classroom settings. So there's this group in Baltimore, and like rough schools in the Baltimore area. And they brought meditation into classrooms, just teaching kids to calm down, breathe, regulate. And these schools were going from hundreds of suspensions every single year to single-digit suspensions, just by teaching kids to co-regulate. Just regulate your emotions and then move forward. And it's worked amazingly as a preventative measure, because kids are carrying a lot of baggage when they walk into the schools, and their senses are heightened, and the trauma is real and it's there. And if they can come in and breathe and cope and then go meet the student body, they're having a lot more positive interactions. Just an idea, food for thought.
Yoga instead of
And there's some of that going on in our classrooms. It's just
Especially, actually, my son he said his is the only kindergarten class at Granby Elementary that meditates, and they also are the best behaved class.
My granddaughter was in a pre-K program. They would meditate and do yoga, and that was very helpful.
My kids do it.
Yeah. I mean, that's basically part of their day.
I have a quick question. For survey, did Impact Aid cards still go out? Is that, I don't know, sorry.
Yep.
And did we have a good response on those on military families?
Yes.
Generally? Okay, so it'd be really great to send surveys out at the same time you send Impact Aid cards, because I know as a military family, I look for those because I know federal funding helps with free and reduced lunch and those kind of things that my kids received. So in order to appeal to people at the time that they're filling out things that you get a high return on, I think sending it at the same time might be a really great idea.
We send surveys out all year round on different subjects. So
I'm sure you maybe, I mean,
yeah,
obviously,
but
there's
we
also,
keep
you can
this
survey people to death.
conversation going on how
Yeah,
to
you can 100% survey people to death, and having worked in that field before, I totally agree. I just think when you're talking about a calendar here, and, you know, obviously impacting working, as, you know, parents and you know, we're home to the world's largest Navy base. So if we have deployed parents and another parent works, this is a very impactful thing. It could be a good time to send such an important survey, just as an idea.
Can I ask one question about the recruiting? I know you're talking about like it's you know, trying to, I guess, retain teachers, get in new teachers. I know. I mean, if you jump back, and I mean, I think about like when I moved to the area, right? I mean, it was like Norfolk, all the schools in this region were basically like traveling north and just poaching teachers from all over the Northeast, right? Is that still a thing, or is
They still travel all over the country, go to job fairs.
Okay.
They're, we're doing early contract signing. We hold our own job fairs throughout the year. So yeah, we're doing everything, like Dr. Gabriel said, they are doing everything we can to hire for every position. We need across the board every position.
Okay, I wasn't sure if like that well had run dry.
No,
or-
no, no.
Okay, all right.
No.
Just less people are graduating with education degrees than ever
Right.
before.
Yeah.
The wonder was.
How welcome are parents in the schools?
I'm sorry.
How welcome are parents in the schools? Are they allowed to volunteer? Are they?
We like I've said
PTAs?
before, we have Raptor is the, even if you've been a certified volunteer last school year, or the year before, we introduced a new system called Raptor. It's an app. You can go on our website and you can apply to be, it's a very simple process. And there's a very basic background check, and you can apply to be a volunteer. And I encourage everyone to do this. We need more people in our community to be volunteering, and it can be something like, stand in the hallways during class changes, or sit, and that could be a game changer for a child as far as their trajectory in reading. There's clubs that you could host. Anyone can be a part of any PTA. So I strongly encourage you all to get involved. And
I will say, take a screenshot of the completed form, because when I went to volunteer at Granby, they couldn't find it in the system. So I just forwarded them the email of confirmation that I had done it so I could go volunteer. Just to cover your bases.
So I do personally have one request. I know this might be.
you always have a request.
Well, there's this one personal request, and actually I speak on behalf of some other parents I know, and I don't know if like what it takes to make this possible, but the automated phone system.
Yeah, I know, it repeats over.
Well,
and
no,
over.
just if there was a way to have it not be like an all or nothing switch, where it's like I either have to get every single phone call that the school system sends out, or I get zero. Only because I know there's been some parents who are like, okay, and then they turned it off, and then
They get nothing.
their child's bus was in an accident, didn't get that call because they weren't on the list anymore. They said don't disturb them. They're like, okay, well, I do want to know if my child's bus gets in. Wait for me to be at least have a few more smaller switches than just the big main
I think
kill
NPS
switch.
also limited by
So that's my only request, just passing along. If there's a way to be let parents be a bit more, a few boxes to check, here's what I'd like to hear about.
Okay, well, I have a request of you.
Okay.
As a part of the board training and working towards developing the strategic plan that was passed, each of us we've received a homework assignment, and so part of my homework assignment was gathering community feedback and how do you do that the best. And so I would like to hear from you guys to say, what do you feel is good outreach to the community? Is it now I know, okay, every single community that we have, do we have a military representative, which should be common knowledge for us, but sometimes I will just be honest with you, in the fog of everything that happens, maybe it's just not, checked, but truly it should be. And so I would say from you all, because we are the community, what type of outreach do you feel is touching you in the best possible way? So that would be helpful feedback for me, because we really do want to get that feedback, the genuine feedback, so that way we can make decisions that are both good for the kids, but also mindful of our community representatives.
Let that know.
You can go to the chat, send it to us, or you can email me directly. I'm happy to receive it. Yes.
All right. All the things happening in the schools, so we appreciate it, and all you do for us on
Can
the
I
school.
just say one thing?
Yeah.
Other than security resource officers and security officers, we are investing in weapons scanning
Detection system.
detection system, sorry, I'm split up, for all of our schools. So, it's a detection system, whereas the metal detectors that we had, the old ones, you have to come through single file and get bonded. Groups can come through and you can detect the difference between a weapon, because, yeah, a Chromebook or other types of devices. So, so that's something. And I do want to say, Granby High School has an SRO who is absolutely amazing. She's retired military, and she is like a human facial recognition computer. She can tell you if that child, I mean, they have 1,800 students there, and she can watch each one of the students and tell you if one of them are not students at Granby. Like, she will catch you if you're trying to sneak in there. That's no good. So, human intelligence, human due diligence obviously can't be replaced. But when we, put these together, we're, really excited about, because we take our security seriously. I mean, my son's at Granby High School, and, I hear about this on the daily. So it is very serious.
I saw a notice where some of the schools are starting to require the clear backpack. So we're doing that with no public.
Not yet.
Because, things can get them.
They'll hide it. They'll hide it. They'll hide it in the bushes. Go out and get it. I mean, after school. I mean, if someone wants to do something, they can do something.
Yeah, I hate to take that individuality from the students. When they're back to school, they're excited getting their things.
Yes. I mean, but overall, students are still students. Like, they're still kids, and these situations are obviously happening more frequently. But we're doing all that we can. Dr. Birdsong listens to the school board. She listens to conversations. She meets with superintendents across the region regularly. We have to make this investment. But I will say, don't let this taint your what you think students are doing. They're still just students.
But yeah, it's across our culture. The majority of the people are good, and we're being punished for what the minority of the people.
And we need more parent involvement, more community involvement in our schools. So, please let me or Dr. Birdsong or Dr. Gabriel or any of us reach out to us, and we can help you.
Last question, since we're talking about security. I am a security expert, licensed through DCJS. I've noticed that, like Granby Elementary, because that's the only school I've been in, because my kids are there, the lack of security cameras in where they're pointed. Are y'all looking at improving security cameras and adding more?
Yes. We have them on all the entrances. But we are investing in more cameras as well.
Yeah, they're on the entrances, but there's a lot of blind spots.
Well, that's an old school, and it still has a bomb shelter in it, so that's why it's one of the schools on the list.
Nice to know.
Yeah, I do hope that because we're gonna redo it, we still need to put money into it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's some good security cameras.
You said 8 years for Granby Elementary. I'm like, that's 8 years.
Yeah, we can only do
hopefully high school.
Go as fast as the resources that we have. So yeah, we're trying. We're moving. Yeah.
We're getting towards
Playground or security
springtime and all.
camera. Yeah.
In the past, we had a problem in this area with kids in the springtime skipping a lot. There'd be a whole bunch of them everywhere out here.
I mean, I don't know. We have truancy right now is on. We actually have attendance challenges going on between schools that are trying to beat each other out on good attendance, because attendance counts toward our accreditation, and it has been waived for the past 3 years. And so this year it will count. And so we are taking it very seriously. So, and we have truancy officers. Of course, we're hiring more truancy officers. But if you see that, then you need to call the.
Are they on staggered times getting out, or should there be no kids out here at
Yeah, some
11 in the morning?
some students do leave midday to go to the governor's school or other, the technical center, other programs, or they might have to go to work. We have a situation where some of our students, for example, my son, when he entered Granby as a freshman, he had enough credits to graduate as a junior. And so that's why we introduced dual enrollment at TCC and, ODU, and we offer these other, try to keep them busy there for full 4 years. But there are students that are legitimately leaving to go to other things like I said, work, technical training, or governor's school, things like that. So,
We have them parading from Grammy to 7-Eleven.
Yeah, there's a
not
line,
fair.
a B line,
But you know
from
what I
the
mean,
back
don't
of, Granby High School, up Newport, across this field, right over here, and right on up to, it's a highway. It's literally a highway. And then they'll stop in the little children's playground and go get up in the little house up there, you can see the whiffs of smoke. There's all kinds of shenanigans
They
going.
should be
And
out
it
there at
happens
11,
when,
right?
it happens when the weather gets nice,
Nice,
exactly what he's talking about.
So they shouldn't be out there like at 11 in the morning or 10, or even if they're in staggered hours, right?
some of them might. Some of them might.
Now, I read that,
Not they're just wandering.
Yeah, if they're wandering around,
They're just
no, but they
wandering
should be
around.
walking with intention.
They're wandering around,
Playgrounds,
they're
whatever.
they're loud, they're not even cognizant that they think they're invisible. It's kind
They
of funny.
essentially should be
You can
going
hear
to
them
a
a mile
bus
away.
or a car or transportation to the wander.
There'd be 6 or 7 in a group,
I read since COVID that there are some kids that have never returned to school, and they're not online, they're not taking classes online. Do we have any of those kids?
They, say they move out of state or wherever, and then they have to enroll in a school, and then that school will come back and ask them for their transcripts. So if that never happens, if they're never enrolled into another school and that request doesn't happen, we don't know what happened to them. To find out where they are.
There's a position where somebody goes and checks the addresses that are listed, and if they're not there, then it's.
The latest report I've seen.
Check 7-Eleven. Where they are.
Man, there's about 250,000 kids that left all schools
Yeah,
across
yeah,
the country.
right.
That's,
No, not just here.
yeah,
Everywhere.
everywhere. So
That's why I was wondering, do we have those kids?
Yes.
something.
And we do.
So
We
we're
also
trying
have
to
children.
track them,
We also
contacting their parents. And
We also have families who their child might have gotten kicked out of one school district. They use a fake address here in Norfolk, and then they drop the kid off, say Granby High School. Then we try to contact the parent. They don't actually live at that address. So there's a ton of work going on behind the scenes to try to locate these children and make sure that they're in the right place.
Please do pass along our, appreciation to Dr. Birdsong. I will say that, at this point, probably since we moved to the years ago, this is the, most positive reception I think the community has had to the superintendent position and the superintendent who's in it. So I've lived here.
She's been at this district 24 plus years.
Yeah.
So I mean, I
We've broken
think
the
you
cycle
got
of the
the right
revolving
one.
door, which is good. Thank you. We will definitely share that with her. That is very appreciated.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. We will have our Adopt a Spot, not this weekend, but next weekend out here on the field. Membership meeting next month. And we did put our June ice cream social on here for Monday, June 12th. So hope to see you there.
Is it on there?
Yeah, it's March 11th, Saturday,
Yeah.
March 11th.
You have the dates ahead of time for them.
Yeah, they're on the website.
Every time that one
And we
comes
do it
up.
on next door too.
I like to do it, but I've got something, every time it comes up, it seems like I got something I gotta do. You're the secretary. I'm the secretary for my fishing club. I am not good at it. I can't listen and write. How do you
This is what I do, and then I go listen to the tape. I go watch it.
Well, see, that's what I'm gonna bring a little tape recorder.
So
I
that's
can't-
what I do. I have
can't
to
listen
make
to-
it, and then I go back and.
So you listen to the tape.
I'll watch that.
Well, I'm gonna do that. I'm got little, I've got one of those old tape recorders with a little cassette. I'm gonna bring it. I'm
Yeah,
just,
that's what you do, and then that way you can just listen in case you miss something.
nobody, we had no secretary. You do shorthand or just
No,
write
I
out?
just write them out.
Well, I'll
I
do it.
scratch it out.
I'll do it.
I'm gonna request a budget
I
item.
tried to call you. I was.
Got it to finish hit in stream now?
Yeah, I think so. I don't know. Ask Karen what button she hit.
Yeah, no, literally.